the voice in your ears and the face on your screen. I'm Perfect Purpose, and this is Pro Football Sweden. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, Jallo Juice. What up, Juice?
Ways up, perfect. How you doing, baby?
Back at it, trying to do another show with you, talking football in Sweden. Let's hop into
Ready.
it.
Let's go.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I
So
said let's go. Ready.
yeah, let's do it then. So currently we're still looking for sponsors and staff to help us keep this podcast going throughout the entire season. If you have any questions or want to know how you can help us out, just send an email to profootballsweden@gmail.com or hit us on the Instagram and the DMs. The PFS podcast is available everywhere you listen to your podcast, and you can see us here visually on YouTube. Wherever you listen or watch, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Now, let's get into some football. All right, first quarter energy. This is when we talk about the good and the bad. And I think I figured out the positive and negative. We got to start off with the negative and then finish on the positive. So, give me your negative for this week, Juice.
All right. So my negative, I'm gonna go to Oslo, and we're gonna talk about Örebro. Örebro, I believe in your receiving core, but you guys are holding my boy big back. I'm gonna keep it 100. You guys are too talented, too many drop passes on the field. At the same time, y'all making plays. Like this is probably one of y'all better performance, but y'all have more inside of y'all.
That wasn't in my negative, but that was in my notes. I counted at least 8 drops. Just throwing that out there. I counted 8, and I wasn't really counting. I was just like, oh, that's a drop. That's a drop. And then I saw my hand. I was like, oh my gosh, I counted 8
Yeah.
drops. Just throwing that out there. That is tough on a quarterback, and not like 8 tough drops. 8. Come on, man, what you doing? Drops.
Mhm.
Anyways, my negative is a little more tit tacky. Uh, what my negative is if you're gonna play in the game, play in the game. Uh, I saw again this week a player, or actually, I'm pretty sure a coach who wasn't playing for Tyresö, and then in the second half he went in the game, put on his pads. I mean,
You talking about number
I've also
zero?
yes, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I can't remember how to say his name, but great guy,
No go.
good.
No go.
Yeah,
No go.
I can't ever say it right, but he's a great guy, good coach, love him dearly. But y'all got to stop doing that. Him, it's the same thing with Matt Retzloff and anyone else is doing it. I don't understand the reasoning behind it. If you're gonna play, play. I'm cool with that. If you think you're gonna play, dress out. But the
You
whole
saw him
I'm in.
warming up on the sideline with his little with his he rolling up his hamstrings, kicking up on the fence.
Oh, I didn't see it. But
I know.
for me,
See every
for me, is disrespectful to the game. Because there's guys who are practicing all week, doing everything they can, and they'll probably go to the game and they're on the sidelines because maybe they're just not good enough right now to get in. And then you have someone who is helping the team, but decides in the middle of the game that you know what, we need me. Or if even if it was someone else is like you need to go in, it's disrespectful to the game because it's saying that you don't need to be prepared. You need to just show up at halftime. And
I don't take it
again,
like
it's
that
just
though. I'm not taking it like that though. I ain't
you don't
taking it
have to
like that.
take it like that. I'm telling you what it is as a person who respects the game. I don't think no one's personally trying to disrespect the game. Like, obviously, that's not his intention, and he's just doing what he thinks will help the team. I understand that, but it's still an ick for me because
Okay.
ultimately, what you're doing is ruining the integrity of the game because you're setting a precedent that that's okay, and that's how we get into the prima donna eras of people not understanding that you have to go through a certain thing. It's that whole thing of, oh, you have one really good player, so you let him do things that you don't let anyone else do, and that's the slippery slope. And that's all I'm saying is it's a very easy fix. If you think at all you're going to play in the game, suit up. You don't have to go in, suit up. But the fact that you're in street clothes and then at halftime you go and put on a full uniform. Oh, let me throw this out here too. I've seen Josh Akina do that as well. It's just one of those things that, come on, man. Like, if you're not gonna play, don't play. Like, if you really think that you're not gonna play, don't play. But if you think that you might play, you need to be suited from the beginning of the game. That's all I'm saying is it's a disservice to the game. And I know that's a harsh take on it, but that's my take, and that's why it's my negative. I don't think it has to be anybody else's negative.
You done, Stephen A?
I'm trying to bring some integrity to my game that I love, But let's get to the positives.
I respect all take. I just got to respond to this, When it comes to Matt Retzloff, I would say that could be a little bit more disrespectful in the sense of Matt is kind of expected to play. Nogar is not really expected to play, and he's also the coach. He's the head coach, the GM, everything. And he probably don't want to play. He just brings his pads there. Okay, we got some injuries going down. I got to go step up. That's simply how it is for him. And plus, Nogar was pushing 40, something like this. Not saying that you pushing 40, you're too old to play. However, he's not trying to play football.
Nothing you're saying is changing my stance because, again, I'm not saying that they're trying to disrespect the game. I'm not saying anyone is intentionally doing this out of like, well, fuck it. But what I'm saying is it sets the precedent. It's one of those situations.
And peel back, be like, oh, you know what, man? I got to go put on my pads right now. How would you feel about that?
If he said that coming the week before the game, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to practice a couple times and I'm going to play in the game, I respect that. But if at halftime he puts on his pads, that's one of those disrespectful things because you're saying you don't have to put in. Yeah, I don't care who the hell it is. Anybody that does it. That's where we have a difference is that I'm not saying that there should actually what I am saying is there shouldn't be as many different rules for different folks in this regard. Only because it's a team sport. And when you start to single people out like that, you lose chemistry. And that's the issue I have with it. Because it's one of those situations of, even though you didn't mean to disrespect how it goes and what can be done, you did set precedent. There will be a time in the future that someone's like, at halftime, I'll go in if y'all need me, which is kind of the precedent that's being set. And that's what I'm saying I don't like about it, is that it's a precedent that, yeah, in specific situations, you have to do it. But the better precedent would be if you are on the roster, you wear a uniform. And you can still coach from the sideline. You can wear just your jersey and pants and coach from the sideline. And then if you have to go in, put on your shoulder pads. But the fact that you're in street clothes, that's the same thing as saying, I am not playing. And then when you decide to play, you're saying, this is not a serious thing. I can just come out of street clothes whenever I want to, while all you other bums have to wear your uniform, which is a real big thing in American football. Is the uniform was made for a reason. It's so everyone would be similar, not so there could be anybody standing out. And if you're not part of the uniform part, you're not considered part of the on-field team. Like there's a lot of little intricacies in the sport that are being, glossed over. And that's what I'm saying is it's a slippery slope to us not really playing with the same spirit of the sport. And again, it's my negative. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it, but you can't really think that I'm wrong. Like you could disagree with it, but I mean, it's just one of those things. So to the positives, man. It's all good. What was your positive for the week?
My positive is really simple, and I think we all could agree to this, that this week of football has been really good football. Even though some of the scores may be a little bit separated, like there was a donut in one game, that score does not determine. It doesn't show like, oh, they got smashed, I mean, they were beat up on them, but they didn't get smashed. They had a chance to compete. And in the Copenhagen game versus Tyresö, man, that was actually a really good game to watch. It came really down to the fourth quarter. And, the score separated at the end. Vilgo was balling out at the end, quick feet. We'll get to him a little bit later. Like it was a good football week, and I was really positive. I was really glad that I saw Copenhagen play real football. Because in the past we've seen Copenhagen be a dominant football team, and recently we was thinking like, man, Copenhagen, bro, they trash for real, But now they looking like an actual football team. They looking like kind of how we saw Oslo last year.
Yeah.
Also probably a little bit better than where they were, but it's starting to look like okay, they got potential to be an actual good football team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's very similar to my positive for the week. I think I phrased it slightly different, but I'm saying the same thing. Is I saw very good play from the Scandinavian editions. That's what I wrote down here. Scandinavian editions showed great football understanding. In my opinion, Oslo, no, they didn't play well enough to win the game, but they played smart enough to keep it close, like you said. Like it wasn't a blowout. You never really felt like Örebro was just gonna, take the game out of their hands or like put their foot on their neck or anything. Even though, 24-0 took a while to happen, but it was a good game. And you got to respect Oslo for that. And they've been showing this for the last 2 years that, they understand football well enough that they can compete even if they are physically outmatched, which I mean their offensive line is always physically outmatched. And then on the other side, you got Copenhagen in a game that, all right, let's call a spade a spade. They should have got beat like 50-0 or 60-20 or something like that. Like Tyresö should have, blew the doors off of them. But I think, and I really hope this is right, Copenhagen listened to what we said last week, or at least what I said about playing the defense where you just force Tyresö to execute. And I feel like that's what they did. We don't actually do a like in depth on the games, do we? Right? Because
We
yeah.
could,
So I just talk.
but
I mean, I was gonna say,
it's
I don't know
possible.
if I don't know if we do a in depth. So I'm gonna throw this out here now. Is that they did a really good job. I know some people are like, oh, well, Tyresö must not be that good because they play so close to Copenhagen or something. Some people said that for a while, and the thing about it was that you have to look like watch the game. Don't just look at the stats or the scoreboard or whatever. You watch this game. Copenhagen's offense could not run the ball. Not possible. I don't know what the stats was, but I'm sure they had 0 or negative yards rushing, yet they were still able to have a large time of possession and
Yeah,
move
that
the
was the
ball
main
down the field.
that was the main thing that slowed Tyresö down from scoring a lot of points. And
That
that's
that's what
that
they
kept
did.
real. It looked like a
They
long first quarter.
they did that purely by passing and their quarterback scrambling every once in a while. Like they legitimately couldn't run the ball against Tyresö's
And
front.
they was converting a lot on third downs early in the game. That first half, it
Yeah,
was like, man, they were all those third downs.
yeah, just smart football. That's what I'm saying is that them as well as also they knew how to play these games. Now, were they the better team? No, but they were able to keep it close for a long time. And what I really liked about the Copenhagen game was when they played against Tyresö. I said this last week. Tyresö has more, I think, more talent than any other team in Sweden. Like they're the most talented, but they're not the most disciplined. And watch the game. Tyresö can't score if they don't have an explosive play in that drive. And all their scores in this game came off of like big plays. But early in the game, Copenhagen limited that. They weren't able to like have a lot of big plays, which meant they had the nickel and dime. Tyresö don't nickel and dime nobody. And take away the last two touchdowns in that game, and that's what the game really looked like. But in that fourth quarter, Copenhagen just kind of broke. Like eventually, a D1 versus a D1 AA. That's what happens, and that's what it looked like. Like they were like, we can hang with you guys, but physically at the end, there's only so much you could do before Double V gonna get loose, right? And that's what happens. But I really like that Copenhagen showed that they're capable of playing this type of team, and it shows a really good like outlook on the future of the league. Because if Oslo and Copenhagen are able to level up their physical talent to match their football knowledge, it looks like, or football strategy, whatever you want to call it, we're gonna have a really good league in like 2 years. because the Swedish teams I think are a little bit more physically talented and maybe even football savvy, but Oslo and Copenhagen show to be very like up to the challenge of playing football here in Sweden. So it's really a really good weekend to see. And like you said, it was good football, worth watching. Um, Also, let's throw a shout out to the Carlstad Crusaders for
Yeah,
35-0, right? Woo.
yeah.
I didn't watch
Put a
it,
dome.
but
Yeah, and they
yeah,
could have put more. They threw uh, your boy. You want to say his name, QB?
I don't. Who am I talking about? I don't know who we're talking about.
Slay Jarman. He threw 2 picks in the
Oh,
red zone. Uh,
oh,
two tough ones.
ah.
But they could have scored more points in that game. Like they was clearly
A win
better
is
than
a
them.
win.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
a
was
win is
clearly
a
better than them.
win. It just goes to the point that I don't say it too much, but Sweden, Super Serien, might be one of the top leagues out here in Europe. I'm not seeing a whole lot of club teams that could beat the top teams here in Sweden. So might be time
Yeah, we're
for
gonna
some
see because
people to start.
they're gonna have a hard test when they go down to France and they play Tenon Black Panthers. It's gonna be a big
I
test for
say
them. So we're gonna see how they do.
I don't think so. I'm a stand on business. French football, it ain't what that is. But Tenon is a
But
really good team.
yeah,
Tenon is different.
Tenon and La Flash and my loss, they actually, quite good.
I I think I think Tenon is a good team. I think Flash has a good organization, and I think Molosses have some of the best
Athletes.
talent in France.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they got good athletes. But I would also put Tenon has a really good organization. If you go down there, I played there, for 2 months, and the facilities that they have over there, the way that they have a good leadership is phenomenal in Tenon. Phenomenal.
yeah,
They
but they
brought
ain't no
the build
Carlstad Crusaders, man. I'm just gonna throw it out there.
and the
I'm
athletes,
just
and they
throwing
bring
it
them.
out there. I'm riding with the Crusaders, baby.
Hey,
Well,
look, the
internationally.
Crusaders, that's my first love. I always go back to their first love.
That's
Best
that's the
Kebab.
first place. That's the first place you took an
Best
L in
kebab.
Finland, right? Yeah, I got you. I remember that. That was the
No,
first time you
no,
took
no,
an
no, no.
L
I
in
didn't take
Finland.
the
Your first L
finish.
in Finland,
And
right?
I took my first L in Europe against Helsinki Roosters, but they came to Sweden and we took the L.
I thought I saw y'all play in the Velo. My bad.
Now, but I did was Stockholm when we was competing in the international games. We went to Velo with Stockholm
Mm,
and we lost to
mm.
Helsinki.
Yeah, I'm just trying to throw this out there. This is random, and now we're way off on this episode. But Finland and Swedish teams playing against each other. Last time, oh no, Steelers lost to Mean Machine last time two teams from those countries played
Yeah.
a couple years back. Yeah, so Sweden on top, baby. Hey, I'm with it. This is the PFS, Pro
I
Football
mean,
Sweden.
that's the last one, but before Helsinki has been beating everybody.
Yeah,
The Roosters
they
been
ran
beating
through Sweden. Yeah. It is what it is. Roosters ran through Sweden and most of Europe at one point. But all
man.
I'm saying is, as of
Remember
2025, there's I don't know, does what is that?
the
Does
U19, the U19 do it?
no does AFI still do like a top 25? I don't know if they do. I don't keep up with them anymore. But if we had like a top 25, going on, Carlstad be pushing for that number one spot.
This actually is one out there. Ballers got one out there.
Oh, okay.
From last, yeah, they
You
had
got a
one out
Europe
there.
one, or did
Roosters,
you get a Nordic one?
Yeah, it was a Nordic one. It was just the Nordic
Yeah.
ones. But out of all the teams inside of Europe,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would say Carlstad is up there, but they wouldn't be
I
number
mean,
one.
I'm giving them number one because there's no way to actually prove it. There's no Euro Bowl anymore, so.
I mean, we kind of going to see right now. I mean, that Warsaw team, Warsaw team, they're looking pretty good. They went down to Schweiber Hall and beat them. They beat
Yeah,
Stockholm.
the team's not bad.
A really good organization. Really good
Yeah,
organization.
and last year Stockholm lost to Schwabers Hall, and those are good teams too that they beat. I don't have too much to say about the Warsaw Eagles, mostly because I feel like they might be a mercenary team. But I mean, in the CFL, I guess it doesn't really matter.
Mhm.
So it's just one of those situations of there's no like Euro Bowls, so like it's just CEFL teams, which is cool. I think it's fun and it's going to prove who's one of the best in Europe. I think Carlstad will win the whole thing.
I say we speak one into existence. We kind of, well, I'm gonna give myself a credit to the Scandinavian League is kind of formed up. I spoke it into existence in 2018. This Euro Bowl might be a thing in the future.
I don't think so because I think neither
Yeah.
one is recent. I think they're just remakes of what was already done. There used to be the Euro Bowl a long time ago. Then there was the Big Six, which was just Germany doing their own thing. There used to be the NEFL, which was the Nordic teams playing basically against each other. Then there was the CEFL, and that's one has stayed, but it was much smaller before. It got big 1 or 2 years, and now it's back to being kind of mid. No, not disrespectfully, but saying that like you don't necessarily get the best of the best teams. You get
Mhm.
certain level teams, and you get champions, obviously, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're the best teams. Like it used to be a situation where there'd be teams like the New Yorker Lions, the Calanda Broncos, you know,
So what you get?
Swarco
So what-
Raiders playing in these leagues where there's damn near 10 Americans on the field on each side of the ball, and people from all over Europe are watching these games. At this point, there's so much going on in the world. Everybody's attention is split. So it's really hard to figure out what's really worth watching. Like right now,
yeah,
every weekend, you have to decide, do I want to watch ELF games? Do I want to watch my league? Do I want to watch German league? Do I want to watch the Super Serien? Do I want to watch Maple League? And how many hours I mean, what are you gonna do? Sit at your computer all weekend and watch these damn games? Or if you go to a game, that's 3 hours of your life and you can't watch another game. I guess you got it on your phone, so you're looking like this all day. It's just so much. And it's not as like centralized as it used to be because there's so many options. It used to be not a lot of options. I remember
Mhm.
a long time ago when I was first to import living in Switzerland, when we had bye weeks, I'm watching the Euro Bowl. That's when I became a fan of the Swarco Raiders. Still am a fan, just because I just loved what they did, and that doesn't happen anymore. Like that's not a real possibility. There's always something to do. There's always a game. There's always something going on. So it's really hard to compare because there's so much noise. I call it noise.
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but I think we digress long enough. Let's hop into it.
We can go.
All right, so second quarters, we got top performers presented by Ballers International. Let's name some guys that stood out to us this weekend. I'll let you do it first, Juice. Name a couple, then I'll name a couple, then you name a couple. We'll call it like that.
There's been so many ballers this weekend. And some guys, I wish I could say all you guys' names. It's a lot of guys from on pretty much every team that I can list, but I'm gonna have to play a little childish game. If you have a V in your name, if you have a V in your name, you did good to V. If your name was Basie as a last name, if your first name was with a V, like Big Vic, and my boy Double V from Tyresö. So I'm gonna just stick with those two right there, though. Double V, that boy feet is too quick in the host. He was making Copenhagen Towers players look like they didn't belong on the field. Like they was not on the same. They was in water or quicksand, and he was running on the best surface that you can run on. And like and he cut his cuts was like the right cut every time. Tyresö has got a dangerous backfield. Him and number 4, them boys got something in their legs. Then I'm gonna just go and move on to Thick Vic. As I said earlier, your receivers, bro, man, Vic, your receivers, y'all gotta get that chemistry going because there was 2 passes where I thought you overthrown a bit of Vasey, but then you underthrown, like one of the Linnaeus brothers, and missed out on the opportunities. But either way, I give my flowers to you. Man, I also want to give flowers. Like I gotta give flowers to oh my goodness, I'm having a brain fart right now. I'm thinking about him right now. Oh my gosh, J, my boy Jay from Tyresö,
Okay.
QB. Bro,
Okay, got
he like the way that he just moves in the pocket and how poised Jay stays, bro.
Can I say one more thing about Jay? Can I throw it here? I think I'm gonna say it every time you say it. I love when he square up and get ready to launch the ball. Like every time
Yeah,
I see it, oh my God, he's about to do it, and he did it this
yeah.
week too. I
And,
don't even know
and
if he.
number three caught the ball and hurt his little balls afterwards. I was like, bro. But hey,
That
and the
was
cool thing about
hurt his little balls.
ball, he got a celebration going first. Then he was like, okay,
Yeah,
let me do
yeah,
that.
he did.
But
Yeah,
man, Jay, I gotta give my flowers to him. Like his name, he don't got no V in his name, but I gotta give my flowers to you, Jay, bro. You balling, bro. You look smooth, poised, and that's exactly what you want from your quarterback. But I'm gonna end it right there. All those V names, you did a good job this week. Y'all got y'all flowers.
yeah. I was gonna go with all those same V names as well, and you said it better than I could. So I'm gonna throw out a couple of guys who maybe people might not have looked at this year. In the last week, I'm just gonna go through it. I have the rosters up here, but I want to talk about some guys from the Copenhagen Towers because, like I said, they played really good this weekend, and I was really impressed by the quarterback. I'm looking at his name, Ben Finkel.
Yeah.
Hey man,
Hey,
he was
slide, boy. Slide.
hey, he do what he do, but he was under duress from the very beginning of the game. First play, he moving. Like, I'm like, okay, this guy got to save his life. And he did it so well. Like, every play that the other Tyresö was in the backfield, like every play. And it really didn't phase him. He had a couple of like throws. I was like, that's crazy. Cause he dropped some in the bucket. And like you said, it usually was like on third down when you have to make a play. He was able to make it either with his arm or with his feet, sorry. And it doesn't really matter that they didn't win the game, but with a quarterback that can play like that in that environment, you can only go up. Like you can't go down from there. You can only go up. And he's gonna raise the level of this team very high this year. And I was really impressed by his play in that situation because I think Tyresö was on his ass all day, and he did a good job not to die. I think at the end of the game they took him out, and I really think they were just trying to save him because there was, like you said, he needs to slide. One time he was running, and there was a head-to-head
Yeah. To be
tackle.
honest, both of them was kind of head to head. Yeah,
It,
Brockwell gave him that hit, but I was gonna
yeah,
let that one slide because it's questionable. But the last one, it was going towards. They was going right when you're looking at the film, and I
mm-hmm.
think the visor with
Yeah,
the
the
red
corner
visor.
when the cornerback came and hit head to head, that should have been an ejection. Like because there was plenty of time for him to not to go to the head, and he went straight to the head. That I think should have been an ejection. I was surprised that it wasn't.
He should have.
But again,
He should have slid. He should have slid down.
no, he couldn't slide on that one. The one I'm talking about, someone was holding him, and he got held up, and the corner came and hit him head to head while he was getting held up. And it's one of those
That
plays
could be.
where yeah,
That could be a
the
ref. I ain't
corners.
calling. I ain't calling
They
a
didn't
flag on
call
that.
it. They
I
didn't
know,
call it, but the thing is,
but
it
it was
it
kind of
just
like you know. If they had a replay, he probably been out the game. Both of them,
it's
honestly.
it's again just like I said about the precedent. It's a slippery slope because it's one of those things where if you don't penalize somebody for it, everybody's gonna start to do it, and now you let it slide. So, I mean, personally, I
And
thought it was a horrible call.
the thing is, if you're gonna play against Tyresö, I'm gonna give homeboy some advice. You're gonna play against Tyresö, that's probably the worst team to not slide against. Probably the worst team.
Look, this is what
So
I'm
they
gonna
got
do.
guys. They rowdy, They rowdy.
I'm not gonna tell nobody how to play football. If that's how Ben want to play, that's how Ben gonna play. And because if you try to tell him what to do, that might change how he plays, and that might be for the worst, not the best. He didn't die. He alive. If he ain't ever slid before, he accustomed to those type of hits.
I bet he felt it this weekend. He probably was out there in Copenhagen. after the game trying to vibe with his teammates. Couldn't really do nothing.
He probably has like a. I mean, they haven't been playing great all year, so I'm pretty sure he has a post game like how do I heal myself before the next game routine probably set up for him already. but I was really impressed by what the quarterback did. And then what'd you say?
Nothing. Continue, baby.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, another guy for Copenhagen that stood out to me was the cornerback number 23, Victor Mazzanti. I think is how you say his name. Another V name for you too.
Okay. Told you the bees names was
the V something. You know, my real name is Vincent, just so y'all know. Manzani, he was, I don't know. I'm not gonna make an accusation, but he might have had a stimulant because he was playing corner, but every time there was like this play is over, someone's gonna come in and make that hit. And a clean hit, it was number 23. That's all I noticed was as a corner, he was ending a lot of plays. He was making sure that if I hit somebody, that's the end of the play. And that's just something about that I really liked. I like seeing him make a lot of plays. And again, it's one of those things where this team played well, and then they had a few guys that played even higher than a normal level, which gives me nothing but optimism about their future. And the last guy I want to talk about, and then we'll move on, is from Tyresö, but I'm trying to get their roster, and like it's not doing what I thought it was going to do when I pressed Tyresö. Let me try this again. Okay, here we go. This is your guy too, number 6. I don't know how to say his name. You know how to say it?
Oh, Yatta.
Yeah.
Yatta. Yeah.
Hey man,
he was trying to rest back there. He was getting back there every play.
I said they kept getting pressure. He could have been a running back for the Copenhagen Towers. Like he could have been a running back as much as he was in the backfield. It was crazy. And again, like I said, the Towers could not run the ball. And number 6 was the main reason. Like he was in there stopping everything and making sure that they never got started in the run game. So kudos to him. Just want to give him his flowers. I don't know if anybody else was watching, but he did a great job. And then another guy for Tyresö that I felt like I was watching a comedy. Linebacker number 44. What's his name? Caesar.
I like 44. Like I wrote my list, I just couldn't say his name. You know, just too many names.
Every play, every time it was a pass play, and I just said Ben Finkel's running everywhere. The reason he running is because number 44 was coming basically unblocked because they kept bringing 6, and for some reason, Copenhagen.
His energy when he blitz looks so good, bro. Him and Brockwell, but maybe 44 coming off the edge.
Yeah, he was coming off the edge, unblocked, which I don't know why Copenhagen never figured that out. Or maybe in the protection, I guess the quarterback was responsible for him because Finkel made him miss the whole game. And I was like, man, he right there. Finkel did a really good job making him miss, but the pressure was there. And he was given the pressure, and that's what you wanted from him. That was his job, was to get the pressure. And then the fourth quarter, when Copenhagen put in the other quarterback, number 34, I guess, is a quarterback. But when he put him in late in the fourth quarter, 44 got that sack at the end of the game. And I know, like, if you watch the game, you're like, oh, well, he got it at the fourth quarter. It don't count. No, that was a culmination. That man worked hard all game. And then at the very end, he finally got the stat to, like, you know, validate all the work that he'd been doing for 4 quarters. Because he spent 4 quarters running track. Like, he basically didn't get touched that quarterback. And then at the end, he got a quarterback who was a little, like, maybe half a step slower. He's like, that's all I need. Got that leg. So, you know, flowers to you, Caesar, man. You did a great job. Looked good out there. I mean, Tyresö, everybody looked good. I still love the jerseys. So that's it for me for top performers. Did you have anybody else that you want to throw out there before we move on?
Yeah, I was just thinking about this. Like, Tyresö had number 13. Name was like Warren. I remember seeing him in the first game against Carlstad. He was a baller. And
okay.
I haven't seen him play. So if somebody can calm it down and let us know what happened to him, you know, my thoughts and prayers for this guy. Something bad happened to him, but that's all I got too. Let's move on, baby.
All right. All right, third quarter keys to victory. Super Serien teams are back in action this weekend. We got the Copenhagen Towers versus the K-Town Predators, Tyresö Royal Crowns versus AIK, and Carlstad Crusaders versus Örebro Black Knights. First game, Copenhagen Towers versus K-Town Predators. Let's start off with the Towers. Juice, what can the Towers do to beat the Predators this week?
I mean, one thing we
Be
seen them
kind.
already. No. Look. Hey, last week, was a different week. I got a little bit better energy towards Copenhagen right now. But if they do not perform, I might have to go back to that energy to give them that motivation to go back. But simply, keys of victory for the offense. Offense, still that time possession like how you were doing against Tyresö. Like still in the time possession, if you're able to run the ball, that's going to be big for you. You guys were able to be successful on third downs, and there were a lot of times they were like third and long. So if you guys can get to third and manageable situations, you have a more successful opportunity to move the ball downfield and get some points. Defensively, try to eliminate the deep ball shots. The Predators, they do a good job of watching film as we saw they did against Stockholm. They were just saying to themselves, man, this worked against ICO did this and it worked. The other team in this worked. The Eagles did this and it worked against them. We're going to utilize this. So make sure you guys clean up your mistakes on defense that you showed in previous weeks, and that will keep you successful against Carlstad.
I agree. I think those are really good points. For me, only I guess advice I'm gonna give the Towers is I think it's similar to what I said last week for them is defensively limit the big plays. I think that offensively they're gonna be fine. I think they match up well against the Predators. I think they'll be able to move the ball. I think they'll be able to put points on the board. But defensively, you can't give up those big throws, those big plays, and let them move down the field as well. You don't want to get in a shootout with this team. I think that the Predators would win a shootout, and they would
Oh
want that.
yes.
They'd be like, okay, let's see what you could do. We could put up 40. Can you? And I'm not saying that Towers can't put up 40, but I don't think that their defense and offense systems are built for that. I think they're going to try to get the running game going in this one, which I think that's a good idea. Balance it out with the pass game. Offensively, I think they're going to be fine. Defensively, they got to limit the big plays. They got to keep it just like they did last week. Keep it to a game where you're dictating the time of possession, where your team is in control. And I think if they do that, might even get an upset here. But I'm not sure if that's who I'm picking. But yeah, I mean, they could win this game. I think it's possible. So moving on to the other side of the coin, what about the Predators? What do you think they should do as keys to victory?
Yeah, I mean, coming off a bye week, don't get too hyped up over your Stockholm win. Um, a lot of people understands in the Stockholm area they came down a little handicapped. They didn't have their number one quarterback, in the game. So don't get too big headed off that win, but use that momentum from that win to put in the mentality of both sides of the field, offense and defense, that we are a team who can beat the top teams. Any team that just have one loss, have a winning record, we can beat them. So simple things like spread the ball out, how you guys did against Stockholm. Um, you guys did phenomenal offense. Whatever y'all had in the game plan that week, make it look a little bit different. Put a little sprinkle on it, mix some peanut butter, whatever you gotta do, and utilize it. You know, uh, defensively, just hold them. I mean, I would say hold them to a low score and let your offense take care of it. Let your offense take care of it because I ain't so like hyped up on y'all defense right now, but offensively, I think that's where y'all gonna win the game if y'all can win the game.
That makes sense. I think for Predators, I think it's simple. Put pressure on the Towers, pressure their offense. On your offense, like what Juice just said, you're gonna be able to score points. I think both of these teams can score on each other, but I think if the Predators are able to pressure the Towers and put them in more situations where they're uncomfortable, situations where they don't know what play to choose or don't know what they need to do, that's going to be the difference for you guys getting more opportunities to score on the offensive side. So I say defense, just keep up the pressure. Don't get into a situation of what I don't want the Predators to do is come out, firing hard, getting to the quarterback, and then easing up. Because I think the Towers are one of those teams where you just don't want them hanging around. You want to pressure them all game, give them 3 hard quarters of you're not good enough, and in that fourth quarter, the floodgates open. Kind of like what we saw from Tyresö last week is if you just keep pounding, eventually they're going to break. But you got to keep the pressure up. That's what Tyresö did up front, and it proved, like I said, even in the fourth quarter, that's when they got all the spoils and riches from the hard work that they did for the 3 quarters before that. I think if Predators defense just pressures the Towers, they'll be fine in this one. All right, so next game we have Tyresö Royal Crowns versus AIK. What do you got for Tyresö for keys to victory?
Man, I'm excited about these matchups. The matchup in the South we just talked about, and this matchup in the Stockholm area. A lot of guys know each other. But you said we start off with Tyresö, yeah?
Yeah. We'll go Royal Crowns first.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jay is definitely going to have to take leadership in this game. His former best receiver is playing for the other team. Man, I think if Tyresö can stay disciplined, they win this game. I really think it's going to come down to the mentality of this game because both teams are hyped. Both teams know that we're in the Stockholm. We got to prove that we're the best team in the Stockholm area. I think it's going to come down to a mentality. So Jay's going to have to do a good job being a leader, have a good balanced offense. The OC's going to have to do a good job defensively. And I got to mention this as well. Well, I guess I'm going to have to, this is going to be my tip for I-Core when I get to I-Core. So I'm going to pause on that real quick. But
okay.
Defensively, same thing, same principles for your offense and the mentality. Stay disciplined. And that's my keys to victory to the South.
So for me, keys of victory for Tyresö are very similar to what you said about them being disciplined. I think I wrote here on my notes, do you, but execute. I think Tyresö is a better team. I say this, I think I'm going to say this every week. I think they got the most talent in Sweden. They can win this game easily if they just play the way that they play. But if they don't play the way that they play, if they try to pass the ball too much, you got 2 thoroughbred running backs back there. And I know Jay's got a great arm and he can throw and it's good, but sometimes the plays just aren't the right plays for the situations. And they kind of force it into, okay, we have to do a pass play. And then they get behind the 8 ball. Don't get behind the 8 ball against a team that is looking for any reason to be motivated to win. So I think it's one of those things of big brother versus little brother. Do you have a little brother, right, Juice? Or you got a big brother?
I'm the baby. I'm the baby.
You're the baby. Okay.
Baby.
So that's perfect then, because I'm the big brother. So we know both sides of the story is that the little brother always feels like they can beat the big brother. And it's the big brother's job, like, I have to prove that you can't. Even though we both know that you can't, if I don't prove it, you're going to think that you can. And that's how Tyresö has to go into this game is, okay, if you ask them objectively, they're like, yeah, we're not as good as them. But if you ask them personally, they're like, yeah, we can beat them. We will beat them. And all they need is one play here or one play there, and that confidence just all of a sudden they believe. And confidence is a real thing in football. If you give AIK the confidence to win this game, they mess around and upset you. Don't do that. Be the real big brother you are. Smack them down. I'll tell you my big brother story. My brother is better than me at all sports, but he ain't as big as I am at any sports. When we play basketball, I don't shoot any threes. I turn my back to the basket. I post up and make layups all day. not because that's how I like to play, but because I know that's what's going to beat him, demoralize him, and get him out of my way. That's what Tyresö needs to do. Heavy dose of 22, 4, 22, 4. Bomb, number 3. I'm just calling numbers because I can't remember anybody's names. But just continue doing that, and y'all be fine. Where you'll get in trouble is if you try to start mixing up, do a little this, let's do an option like we did a couple weeks ago out of nowhere. Like, you don't need all that. Stick to what you're good at. Put up 30, 40 points, call it a day. And yeah, I think that'll get them a dub. Going to the other side of the coin. No, we already did both teams, right?
No, we didn't. We didn't.
We didn't do it. Okay,
right.
So let's go AIK. Let's go AIK now.
Yeah, that's what I go. So I core. Look, as I established, this is going to be a battle of mentality right now. If it's a big bro mentality for you guys, or you're like, I'm proving I'm the big bro, or they the little bro. Look.
What? Come on now. Well, yeah, I guess we don't know who's the big little bro.
Yeah,
y'all both.
I'm very excited for this game. I'm actually going to tune into this game. Not live, but I'm going to tune into it. Anyways, Icor. And I was thinking about saying this as well. Let me mention this right now. I think the top teams with the best DB group is Icor, Tyresö. Not in order. Icor, Tyresö, and Örebro. I think they have the best DB core. If you guys think that Icor, if you think you guys going to be able to just throw the ball up against Sebastian Janssen, that's not the move. You seen with this boy, his arm is too strong, his glutes is too big, his legs are too big. That boy is sticking guys. Don't look at number 47 and think that 47. That's an ugly number. Because I'm thinking if I'm Ben, I'm thinking the same thing too. He got number 47 on. I'm gonna throw that thing up. It ain't working against him. The point I'm trying to say is that you guys can't pass the ball. I love number 7 on your team. Max, you're doing a great job at quarterback this year. A lot better than last year starting off. Get the ball to your playmakers. And you guys going to have to try to find a way to run the ball. I think Brock and number 44, Brockwell, I think that's the last name, and number 44, they're going to be some guys. If you guys want to run the ball, you guys got to make sure you guys get the alignment to them because you guys not going to be able to easily run the ball. I don't care if you guys got Josh there. The other running back you got there was in number 19. You know what I mean?
The British guy.
Yeah, 39 and 44, they thumping the ball. And Malcolm Ingram, he's also causing problems along with Yatta, So if you guys can figure out a good game plan to be a multiple offense, a balanced offense, that might be a key for you guys. If you guys can't figure out a way, it's going to be very hard for you guys. Last tip, throw in a trick play a few times. Throw in a few trick plays.
What? Oh.
They did it before, and it worked this year.
No, I was going to say I'm listening to what you're saying, and as you're speaking, I'm realizing Juice know everybody from Tyresö squad, and then when you got to AIK, he just started throwing out numbers.
I mean,
when you were talking,
they got Josh Hicks. They got Josh Hicks. I love Josh Hicks. I played with him. Great football player. We see what he did last year. Wow, you got that. But I don't think it's going to just be a throw. Get the ball to Josh Hicks. I forgot to even mention this, because they didn't put it in my notes. I haven't played in the future. To me, they haven't played in like years, you know what I mean? Because it's been so long. 1 week ago. So I'm not even really thinking about all their playmakers. But
it just seemed like when you were talking about AIK, you kept mentioning all the players from Tyresö. And I'm just gonna throw this in there to continue what I've been saying is Tyresö talent is unmatched. Like it's just they got a lot of it. So it's easy to like name all these guys because they have a lot of talent. And talking about what AIK can do to win this game, I think it's very simple. You're not gonna outmatch them. Like you were saying, you can run the ball, but you're not gonna have a lot of success running the ball. But I do think that this is again, little bro, big bro, pick your shots. I think AIK is a smart enough team to say, okay, if we get in this situation, this is when we throw the kitchen sink at them because this is our best chance to get them out of rhythm. But don't go into the game saying, okay, we're going to do this, this, or this. No, play the game, keep it close. And when you have that opportunity, when you start running and get a couple really good plays, they bring a safety down, boom, we go over top with Josh Hicks because that's the situation we're waiting for. But we don't start off with that deep pass. We don't show that right away. Or
They need to get Josh Hicks. They need to get Josh Hicks early. They need to get him hot early. Got to.
That's great in theory. That's great in theory. Only issue is you can't manufacture it. Because all I'm saying is if you know who you're playing, then they know who they're playing. So if I'm doing a scouting report on AIK, I know who their best players are. I know how they can beat me. That's how I go into the game wanting to stop that. What I'm telling AIK to do is don't let that deter you. Don't force it. If the game starts and you're trying to hit Josh and it's not there, let it go. Let it go. Don't force it. Come back to it when the time is right. I think they have to do a lot of precision in this game to get a win. I think if they win their big matchups when they need to, they can upset this team. I think it's one of those situations where all you want to do is keep the game close. Don't spiral. Don't if things go bad, don't let them go worse. Clear your head, play calm. Don't play on your emotions. I know that's hard to do with little brother because you want that get back. But I think it's one of those games where if Tyresö scores, don't feel like you have to score right away. And I know that sounds counterproductive. Like, obviously, you have to score 4 quarters. Play 4 quarters. Wait for your moment because Tyresö is a streaky team. They will give you an opportunity. They will give you a chance. But if you force it, you won't ever see that chance. And that's what I think AIK can do. I think they could pull the upset if they really play disciplined and strategic against this team. I think it's possible. They have the talent. They can match up pretty well. They just have to win the big matchups when it counts. And I think that's it for me on this game. All right, last game of the weekend. Carlstad Crusaders versus Örebro Black Knights. Juice, what can Carlstad do to get the win?
Man, so many great games. What does Carlstad have to do to win? Carlstad, man, that defense is fire, man. I watched Matthias Eriksson, even though they're not a part of this week, he picked up this big running back and just slammed them down on the ground. I'm like, man, I'm not trying to run the ball in the middle of the field. Like, no way. I mean, let's just start with, since I'm talking about the defense, defensively, keep the ball in front. They do have weapons. Don't fall asleep on their passing stats. As I heard the commentators in Oslo talking about, their passing stats were something like this. They showed that they're getting better and better every week. Keep the ball in front. Offensively, man, that O-line for Carlstad is fire too. Run the ball. I think they're the best balanced offense in the whole league. And their plays are just so simple. You see them throwing their little screens. They go for a minimum 9 to first down to 25 yards. Basic plays, getting the ball up to these young. I mean, they seem like little babies to me. Like looking at Alvin Forsman going from quarterback to receiver, balling. Number 11, don't even know where he came from, balling. And I think Roman is back too. I mean, Carlstad play Carlstad football, like play top tier Carlstad football. When I was watching this past weekend game, it kind of looked like it wasn't Carlstad best, especially offensively, but they still managed to put 35 points up. Play Carlstad best football, you win all your games.
Yeah, I was just gonna say ditto because there's not much to add to that. Like you said it right. If they play consistently like they play, they should be fine. So let's move on to OBK. What do you think they need to do to win this game?
Defensively, I love their scheme. I love how they blitz the ball. I mean, it's so obvious, I mean, they're playing cover to read a lot. I see it when I'm watching McConnell, the way he hops off on number 2. But the pressure looks really good. They've been doing this for multiple years, and they've been having different DCs. Defensively, try to get the Jarman quick. Try to make him make mistakes. That's my points for that. Offensively, receivers step it up. You guys have a really good running back. You guys have a lot. I believe in this receiving core a lot, even though they've been dropping the ball. Make my boy Thick Vic look good. And it's going to be the real test. If they can connect receivers, with Thick Vic. This is going to be the real test to see how great is Thick Vic.
Damn it. I'm going to say ditto again because I was going to say the same thing on offense. And defensive wise, there ain't much y'all going to be able to do. Like, they're going to score. So the point is, can you score enough to force their offense into doing something different? And that's going to take somebody besides Trevor Vasey catching the ball. And
you know what? Hey, this kind of seemed like rivalry week. You know what I'm trying to say? Like crosstown rivalries. Like nobody is traveling far away to each other. I just thought about this. Carlstad is 1 hour away from Örebro. Carlstad is a little bit outside of Malmö, you know, but it's down there. Yeah, Stockholm. It's just they're traveling by car probably there. They take the train to the bottom, you know, over there.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, it's a good weekend. It's a good weekend of we ain't got to go nowhere. we ain't got to go far anyway. So that's good. So I guess we'll get into our picks now. All right, fourth quarter, time to make our picks. Not easy making picks, but we're going to make them anyways. You can see our picks on Instagram at Pro Football Sweden, where you can make your comments. You don't have to send anything to the DM. Just comment on there, and we'll, chop it up with you. First game, Copenhagen Towers versus K-Town Predators. Who you got and why?
Now, I hate that I'm going to have to say it like this. This is going to be a week where I'm not going to be 100% confident in my picks. Without further ado, for this game, I'm going to go with Copenhagen Towers. And the reason why I'm going with this pick is because I think Carlstad is probably going to ride that win a little bit too high and keep this game close when I know that they should dominate this one. And the storyline is going to be Copenhagen Towers, the king of the South.
Wow. That man said Copenhagen Towers, king of the South. Let me tell you why you're wrong, Jack. Predators going to do one thing and one thing only. They're going to get that dub this weekend. I think the Predators are in a perfect situation. Yeah, maybe the Stockholm game was fluky, but this is a game you're supposed to win. Like, this is a game that's on the schedule, as in you're supposed to win this game to prove that, Sweden is a little bit better than Copenhagen. And through this far in the season, your team has looked better than their team. And this is just a game of validation. Like, you got to just prove it. I think the game is in Copenhagen, so it's like you said, it's not much of a travel. So that's good. It means you're probably going to get, your full roster there, your full staff. You got plenty of time to prep. Don't leave anything to chance. This is a game where the Predators are going to go out there, play football, make big plays. The big play is going to be the difference. I think it's going to be similar to what happened last week with Copenhagen, where they play close, but ultimately the big plays is why the score is, 2 or 3 touchdowns difference instead of just one. So definitely going with the Predators on that one. Going to the second game, we have Tyresö Royal Crowns versus AIK. Who do you got and why?
I'm going with Tyresö Royal Crowns, baby. And the reason why I'm doing this because hold up. Yeah. I just had a little small brain fart, but Jello Juice is back. The reason why I'm going with Tyresö is because I just think they have the complete team. I think they have too many playmakers. And it can go either way, but I just think when it comes down to the playmaking ability and getting the job done, because when I'm watching Tyresö, it's like, man, what they gonna do right there on this play? Bomb. Number 3 got that joint. Anton. All right. It's third in this. They give the ball to Double V, and he's just cutting, and it's just unstoppable, And I really don't know how they're going to stop the force of him with number 4, and just Jay is just so poised right back there. Like he looks to me again. We got to this point again. He looks like the best quarterback in the league. Best quarterback in the league. Just how poised and just crisp he is, and Patrick Mahomes like throws that he makes. But I'll just stop there. That's my reason. I'm just going off of talent. Going
Yeah,
overtime.
I'm gonna agree with you. I'm going with Tyresö, and very simple. They got more talent at AIK, and it's just gonna prove this game is gonna prove it. They're gonna get the win. Going to the third game of the weekend, we have Carlstad Crusaders and Örebro Black Knights. Who do you have and why?
Man, this is the game where I really want to call an upset. So if Örebro, you do make this upset, I'm sorry, I have to go with Carlstad because Carlstad is king right now. They if we're going with the Knights versus the Crusaders is winning this battle right now. And the main reason why I'm going for it is because it's just a slight bitter taste in my mouth that you guys didn't get it done against Tyresö when Tyresö came to your house. And I thought Tyresö was kind of down that week, but Tyresö managed to pull off the win. But I do believe you guys are a good football team. I'm going with the Crusaders slaying that Black Knight.
I'm also going to agree with you. I'm going Carlstad Crusaders just because they're a better team. I mean, that's it. The better team's going to win, and they're much better, I think. I don't care if the score proves that or not, but they're going to be the better team. But I want to say this before we get out of here. What is the difference between a Crusader and a Black Knight? Like, do you know the difference?
I mean, I think the Crusaders had something to do with like Christianity, maybe, and they were fighting for a good cause. Maybe the Black Knights, they were evil. They were fighting for a bad cause.
Well, that's what I said. Like Knights and Crusaders, like, are they similar? Like, because even their logos are kind of similar. I mean, one of them is like on a horse, obviously, but
they both on a horse.
Are they both on a horse? I feel like a knight and a crusader are very similar.
A Black Knight is a literal stock character who makes his identity and that I don't even know what this word is right here.
Ah, okay. Here we go. Knights versus Crusaders. I typed it in Google and it says, unlike knights who were typically of noble birth, Crusaders hail from all walks of life. So Crusaders are like anybody can be a Crusader, but to be a knight, like you have to be a chosen few. So slight difference.
Yeah.
Still two good philosophies though, because it's 2025. Let's let everybody in. But also, I was born of this is a different way to go as well. So I was born into this. You were merely molded. Me, I was born into this lifestyle. So yeah, those are our picks. Let's get to the end part. All right, that's it for this episode of Pro Football Sweden. Anything we missed that we want to throw in there into overtime juice? Anything?
No, sir. I just want to say good luck to all the teams and make me proud this weekend. I want to see a good football weekend. I want to come back next week and say this was a good football week. You guys lost, you guys won, but
yeah, I don't have much either. I just want someone to explain to me the difference between Knights and Crusaders. I'm probably gonna go look it up after this and do a deep dive. But somebody wants to send a comment about it, that'd be great too. But just like Juice said, good luck to all the teams this weekend. We'll be back next week with more insights and opinions. So please like, follow, and subscribe. And you can see us on all social channels at Pro Football Sweden. We'll see you next week, guys.